Now, the chair of the Infected Blood Inquiry's recommended compensation is given to a wider group of people. Well, I'm joined now by Andy Evans, chair of the Tainted Blood Campaign Group. Thanks very much for joining us, Andy. Firstly, can you just speak about your own experience with this and your reaction to the recommendations?
Hi, Chris. I was infected with both HIV and hepatitis C when I was only 5 years old through my haemophilia treatment. I wasn't told about either of my infections until later on. I was about 13 and getting ready to need intervention as far as the HIV was concerned, which is why my parents told me. And I developed full-blown AIDS by the age of 16 and just barely managed to survive until more modern medications came out when I was 20. So I've suffered quite a lot with the HIV side of things. I've been through treatment for the hepatitis C, which was horrendous. And out of the people who were infected with HIV, around about 1,240, only 200 are left alive. So I've really beaten the odds with that. But of course, with that comes a lot of survivor's guilt, if you like. And it's been something that's been very difficult to talk about with people due to the stigma of both HIV and hepatitis C. So I decided that I would help to contribute to the campaign back in 2006 by setting up the campaign group Tainted Blood. And we've managed to support a lot of people who have gone through similar things due to their infections, and also been able to manage to push for this inquiry. It's taken a long time. It's over 4 decades in the making. But now we feel that, you know, we have a good inquiry. We have an excellent chair in Sir Brian Langstaff, and that with the publication of this report today, he's really, really listened to us. I don't think we could have asked for anything better.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your experiences, and we're obviously thrilled you're here to talk to us about it. But this really has been such a long campaign, hasn't it? Just talk us through what happened in the 1970s and 80s, and how this particular inquiry came about, and where it is at this point, because this isn't really the end of it, is it?
No, that's right. We're still waiting for the final report from Sir Brian Langstaff, which is due possibly in October this year, but it obviously depends how long it takes him to write that. Back in the 1970s and 80s, we were running short of blood supply for treatment of things like haemophilia in this country. And so we imported a lot of our blood supply from places like America, and from there, where people were paid for their donations effectively. So people who were in need of money and people who were at high risk of viral infection, such as prisoners, people on Skid Row, drug abusers, prostitutes, people of that sort of that sort of nature were paid to give their blood. And for haemophilia treatment, what the companies do to make it is to pool thousands and thousands of donations together to extract the plasma from it to get the batch of factor VIII that people need to treat their haemophilia. And of course, if one of those donations is infected with a virus, then the whole lot gets contaminated, which is why so many haemophiliacs in this country, almost 100% were infected with hepatitis C. And so, 25% of those, again, infected with HIV. So it was a case of self-sufficiency in this country not working. It was a case of finding cheaper products from abroad and the unscrupulous ways in which the blood was sourced to pay for that. And that was transmitted across the world. But of course, here in the UK is where we're concerned with at the moment. And it has taken a long time to get this inquiry to this point. It started in 2018. It should have started well back into the earliest, the 1990s, when people who were involved in decision making were alive and well and had the recency of memory to be able to approach the inquiry and give accurate testimony. But the inquiry has done the best that could possibly do, given the circumstances and the distance in time. And we believe it's really listened to us. It's listened to the evidence, and it's coming up with the right conclusions so far.
And have you received any compensation yet? And if not, are you hoping to in the future? And of course, this today is a recommendation that wider families, a wider group of people, also get compensation as well. Presumably, you welcome that too.
Yeah, of course we do. Yes, I have received an interim payment, which was announced back in October of last year. That was a £100,000 payment given to infected people and the bereaved spouses and partners of those people who had died. But at that point, there was a wider subsection of people within the community that would not have access to compensation, even in interim payment. More specifically, the parents of children who had died, and the children who have become orphaned because of their parents dying of their infections. And so we really, really welcome today this move by Sir Brian Langstaff, that those people will be included in the interim payments and also in the wider scope of the compensation panel when that's finally achieved.
Well, Andy, thank you for joining us here on LBC News. Hopefully we can talk again. Thanks for joining us this Wednesday afternoon. Andy Evans, chair of the Tainted Blood Campaign Group. This is LBC News at 3:34. More on our top stories coming up.